Dear friends of the maritime world, welcome. This proposal represents an initiative coming from more maritime stakeholders, that would be the academia, the business sector, civil society, and all your ideas, all your input will be sent to special departments of the European Commission, the IMO, International Maritime Organization, and the ILO, International Labour Organization, and other agencies, just to join forces and work together for the accomplishment of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goal number 5, SDG number 5.
We have gathered today at this international academic focus group to answer only one question. There will not be any session of questions and answers. There will be only one question, but this question will be the most important. This question will have the butterfly effect, hopefully. And the question is the following: what are the expectations of maritime stakeholders regarding joint action delivered by the European Commission and the United Nations agencies, IMO and ILO together, for the SDG number 5, gender equality in maritime? So this is my introductory speech. I will be your host today. I'm Dr. Constanta Maritime from Constanta Maritime University, and I'm inviting now for the opening speech our dear organizer, Ms. Mihaela Scrieciu. She is the president of WISTA Romania. Hello, Mihaela.
Thank you, Christina. Thank you. Good day, dear ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to our event. The Gender Equality Strategy 2020-2025 of the European Commission sets out how the Commission will fulfill President von der Leyen's promise that Europe would offer equal opportunities to all those with the same aspirations. European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen said, "Gender equality is a fundamental principle of European Union, but it's not yet a reality. In business, politics, and society as a whole, we can only realize our full potential if we use all our skills and diversity. It is not enough to use only half the population, half the ideas, or half the energy. To the gender equality strategy, we will strongly support making further progress and accelerating its pace to promote equal opportunities and treatment for women and men. In the maritime sector, the situation is the same or even worse. Only with our concentrated efforts, this kind of events organized today with the title, "The Role of European Commission, IMO and ILO for Empowering Gender in Maritime," will become history in the next years. Thank you for your time.
We also thank you, Mihaela, for your introductory word. And we are expecting from policymakers, from Roxana Lesovic. She is a representative of the Cabinet Expert Communication Advisor, Cabinet of Commissioner for Transport, the European Commission.
Good morning, and thank you for inviting me today to address you ahead of your discussions. In transport, 22% of workers are women, but in shipping, women represent only 2% of the world's 1.2 million seafarers. This can be attributed to harsh working conditions, gender stereotypes, lack of decent facilities, and sometimes discrimination. Seafarers' jobs are difficult to reconcile with family life, as they can often be away from home for very long periods. Such situations have been increasingly visible now during the COVID crisis, when time on board of ships has been extended to even 1 year. The Commission welcomes all actions taken at international, national, regional level to strengthen the position of women in maritime transport. EU cooperates very closely in both ILO and IMO, as well as with World Maritime University, on many social-related issues. One of the Commission policy priorities in the maritime sector is to increase the attractiveness of the seafarers profession and other maritime professions to youngsters and women by improving work-life balance and working conditions. In line with this gender equality strategy, which we adopted earlier this year, we will take action to fight stereotypes and prevent unequal treatment, to promote zero tolerance to harassment and violence, as well as improving work-life balance. This will help create a working environment attracting female employees. Digitalization and automation could also create new opportunities for women in shipping, offering more short-side jobs. Our services are currently carrying out a study on the social dimension of the transition towards automation and digitalization in transport, focusing on the labor force. Results are expected early next year. But already in 2017, we launched the Women in Transport Platform for Change, where we look at ways to strengthen women's employment and equal opportunities in the transport sector. It also serves as a forum to discuss and exchange good practices between its 29 members who come from different transport organizations representing employers and employees, 4 EU member states, Austria, Spain, Croatia and Sweden, and 4 EU agencies and bodies, private companies and 1 university. Under the platform, specifically in the maritime domain, I want to mention 2 actions. The first one is the Fair Winds project, a collaboration between several organizations in the Swedish shipping sector to create a world-class work environment with a vision for zero harassment and discrimination. But also the Action Plan for Gender Balance and the European Maritime Safety Agency, which aims to improve our overall gender staff rate, which currently is mainly male. I also want to mention 2 actions that we have took recently covering all modes of transport. The first one is a toolkit for primary and secondary school teachers to fight gender stereotypes. And the second one is a collection of good practices on how to develop good staff scheduling and rostering practices to improve work-life balance for workers in transport. Finally, last July, the Commission published a study on social issues within maritime transport, in which the gender equality problem has an important place. The recommendations from the studies will be further discussed with stakeholders' organizations. In this context, your reflections today will be extremely useful, and we look forward to receiving your report. Thank you for your attention. Have a good day.
We give the floor to Ms. Azara Prempe. She is Chief of Staff, Executive Office of the Secretary General of the IMO. Ms. Azara, you have the floor.
Good morning to everyone. It's a pleasure to join you all today for this very important discussion. And the IMO is appreciative to WISTA Romania for the kind invitation to be part of this brainstorming exercise that will no doubt contribute to enhance the level of awareness on a crucial issue, such as the empowerment of women in the maritime industry. I hope you can hear me loud and clear.
Yes, we can.
Perfect, thank you. So, cognizant of the limited time available, permit me to delve straight into some of the efforts of IMO in this regard. IMO is strongly committed to supporting the achievement of the Sustainable Development Goals, in particular SDG 5, and has indeed a long-standing track record of efforts to achieve gender equality and empowering all women and girls. IMO Women in Maritime program is now in its 32nd year. The program provides women from the program provides women from developing countries across the world with access to high-level technical training. As part of the program, there is also ongoing strategic support to the 7 IMO Women in Maritime networks that have been to improve gender balance in the industry. And these capacity building initiatives have continued throughout the pandemic in the form of virtual training. And if I can, I'd like to ask Christina to play the Women in Maritime video from IMO, and then I will continue with the rest of my statement.
The maritime world is changing, and for the better. With help from IMO, exciting and rewarding career opportunities are opening up for women, and a new generation of strong and talented women are responding. They're proving that, in today's world, The maritime industries are for everyone. It's not about your gender, it's about what you can do. Women in maritime today are strong, powerful, and constantly challenging old-fashioned perceptions. Women in maritime are standing up for themselves and showing that what matters is not who you are, it's what you can do.
Women are strong, we are wonderful. The women I have worked with in this industry so far they're superstars. They're amazing people, they do a fantastic job, and we learn so much from one another.
We all have the same brain, we can think, we're sharp, we're bright. It requires innovative thinkers, and women are that.
I do operations, search and rescue. I am out there with the guys, taking control.
Technology is forcing us to understand that the nature of how we do work today is different.
Shipping can provide meaningful and long careers for women and young people in general, and this is what we should promote.
In my opinion, there's never been a better time to close the gender gap, and I would encourage all to get on board with gender equality. And of course, we're helping our member states to deliver the Sustainable Development Goals, in particular SDG 5.
It's a good job, it's a lucrative job, and everything is possible. That's all I can say. So go out to sea.
Thank you very much, Christina. So that's just a little snippet of the work that IMO has been doing with our Women in Maritime program. And the program has really been a very, very strong program. And as I indicated, we're in our 32nd year. So in addition to what you heard from the ladies in the video, IMO also continues to train and support the future leaders of the maritime world through our academic training institutions, the World Maritime University and the IMO's International Maritime Law Institute. Graduates coming from these institutions are equipped with the necessary skill set and confidence to become policymakers and legislators. Incidentally, since as far back as 1988, 50% of the places at IMLI are reserved for women. With IMO's help, a new generation of strong and talented women is really indeed proving that the maritime industry is for everyone. Further to this, in 2019, the IMO chose empowering women in the maritime community as its World Maritime theme. And this theme was used as a springboard to highlight IMO's work in this area. And if Christina could be so kind as to share the infographic that I provided, it will give you a snapshot of the many achievements of IMO, building on from the past Women in Maritime program and the many achievements of the year that I mentioned, 2019, with the theme of empowering women in the maritime community. You will note that numerous seminars, conferences, and panel discussions were held in support of the theme. And this successfully raised awareness of the importance of gender equality in line with the UN SDGs, highlighting the important yet underutilized contribution of women within the maritime sector. And showcasing a commitment to further action, at the end of the year, the IMO Assembly adopted a resolution on preserving the legacy of the World Maritime theme for 2019 and achieving a barrier-free working environment for women in the maritime sector. And in support of the implementation of the resolution, a number of activities are underway, including in-house at IMO, where we are working towards creating a barrier-free working environment that embraces equality and diversity and reduces bias for all IMO staff. Incidentally, maritime attaches and diplomats are also establishing a network for gender. And this is also very promising and exciting news. You would agree with me that partnerships are crucial to outreach, visibility, and mainstreaming gender. IMO is therefore committed to identifying and strengthening strategic partnerships that promote greater diversity and inclusion in the maritime sector. IMO is open to collaboration with other institutions and organizations with similar interests and objectives requisite internal processes and approvals that govern external. We are currently collaborating with WISTA International on a number of initiatives, such as a survey to obtain baseline data on the number of women working in the maritime sector. This work is crucial as it is impossible to measure the success in terms of advancing women's empowerment and achieving SDG 5 if there is no baseline data to start with. While progress has been made in empowering women, this journey of inclusivity and diversity is not complete. The maritime industry must do more to take advantage of all the talent and capability embodied within the entirety of our diverse population if we are to continue to meet the increasing needs of our world. This is particularly important as we face the impact of COVID-19 and the pandemic. We must use this opportunity to rebuild from this crisis inclusively, equitably, and sustainably, and put women's leadership and their contribution at the heart of resilience and recovery. I thank you for your kind attention. Over to you, Christina.
Thank you very, very much, Ms. Azara Prempe, Chief of Staff, Executive Office of the Secretary General of the International Maritime Organization. Thank you very much for your kind words and insightful knowledge. We will further proceed to Mr. Ovidiu Sorin Cupșa. Dr. Sorin Cupșa is the IMO ambassador from Romania, and he is also the General Director of Ceronav Training Center for Merchant Marine and Harbor Personnel. Dr. Cupșa, you have the floor.
Good morning, everybody. I want to thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to take the floor. Thank you, Christina, and to all member teams. Such events are very productive for sharing ideas, to develop a new approach, and possible to identify further actions for maritime stakeholders in motivation and empowerment women to choose a career and to evolve in the maritime industry. Only sharing our potential proposals and cooperating, we could obtain a holistic approach, and we could identify global strategies for reducing the gender ratio in this industry. Nowadays, even the percent of women seafarers is still low. However, women have an important role in the maritime industry. The percent of stakeholders and employees in the maritime sector being even higher in many companies: management, operators, crewing, education, training, authorities, and so on. But still remain a huge gap when we talk about women on board. IMO and ILO, as United Nations agencies, have an integrated approach for progress across the 17 global goals of the United Nations that make up the 2030 Agenda of Sustainable Development. For example, IMO used to organize in 2019 World Maritime Day, having the theme Women in Maritime. And as Azara mentioned, I'm permanently involved in the entire maritime world to highlight and showcase their commitment to empowering women in the maritime community and to support SDG 5. As former president of European Union delegation to IMO, I also can notice that the European Union has a gender equality strategy, as Mihaela mentioned, and the EU's policies to the international organization is coherent with this strategy. I'm watching with interest all the proposal, and I hope the conference like this could involve all the maritime community in this process and awareness all stakeholders how important is to have a common approach to empower the women in this essential industry of the world. Thank you very much for your kind attention, and thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to take the floor. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ovidiu Cupșa, IMO ambassador from Romania. We have another IMO ambassador, very important female ambassador from Iran,
She is Ms. Yosra Hoveizavi. She is also the representative of the Iranian Merchant Mariners Syndicate. Ms. Yosra, welcome.
Thank you very much, dear Christina, and thanks for giving me the opportunities to be here and see you all. I'm very pleased to be here, and it's a very interesting topic to talk about women joining onboard ships, especially as the Romanian IMO Goodwill Maritime Ambassador mentioned. Women are playing an important role in the office jobs in maritime, but not on board ships. So the main focus should be their presence and participation on board ships and the way we can facilitate their joining.
Hi, my name is Yosra Hoveizavi. I am head of Women Committee of Iranian Merchant Mariners Syndicate and the IMO Goodwill Maritime Ambassador of Iran. I'm very happy to be here and share my knowledge and experiences with you, and also hear about your knowledge and experiences. As we all know, last year was nominated by the IMO as Empowering Women in Maritime Community, which shows the importance of women's presence in maritime society and their important role in this sector. Also, as a participant to ILO sectoral meeting, work groups were working hours on conventions that could facilitate it for women to work on board ships. And yet there are many required conventions enabling women to work safe and secure on board ships. I met many women seafarers from my society and from other countries, and to my surprise I realized the problems they are facing are similar, which as a conclusion needs a united decision and a united action. I do believe the major change is about the culture, as all the people all around the world knows this society as a man-oriented society. There can be some programs generated by the unions and NGOs supported by the IMO, ILO and other related organizations regarding the cultural improvements. I do believe if the condition on board ships become more safe and secure for women and also more equal with regard to the number of men and women on board, there will be more women willing to work on board ships. I hope by the effort of WISTA and all the other organizations, we can have a more balanced maritime organization. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Yosra Hoveizavi, IMO Ambassador from Iran. We further have we further have a recording from Ms. Lumința Popescu. She is the State Secretary of the Romanian National Agency for Equal Opportunities between Women and Men.
Hello. First of all, I would like to thank you very much for the invitation addressed to me as Secretary of State of the National Agency for Equal Opportunities for Women and Men at this very important event aimed at highlighting the role of the European Commission of the International Maritime Organization and the International Labour Organization on the empowerment of women in the Navy. My involvement in this field means not only coordinating the agency's activities as Secretary of State and moreover in my dual capacity as a woman and politician, through which I undertook the noble mission of constantly supporting the increase in the level of participation and involvement of women in decision-making and in the labor market in absolutely all areas of activity. For these reasons, I am convinced that we must do everything possible to draw together actions, measures and programs to support the affirmation of women in areas less known today or accessed by women, such as the maritime sector, and to contribute to overcoming them. Stereotypes and different criteria for discriminating against women. At the governmental level, it acts as an integrating national body in its two areas of competence. equal opportunities and treatment for women and men in the prevention and combating of violence in order to develop effective public policies and programs tailored to address the complex challenges and vulnerabilities that have accumulated and generated over time. It is for this reason that we are very honored to be involved in the initiative to support and implement active measures to promote and respect equal opportunities and treatment for women and men, as well as to integrate the gender perspective as a cross-cutting principle in the maritime field. As you know, the internal legal framework has evolved progressively over time, and today the principle of equal opportunities between women and men is enshrined and integrated both at the legislative level and at the level of public policies. In this sense, the promotion of the gender perspective at all educational levels in Romania is vital for the creation of essential premises regarding the application and consolidation of the principle of equal opportunities between women and men as a fundamental value of human rights. Therefore, in order to be more open to girls and women in terms of choosing a career in the maritime field, we consider it to be particularly useful in the following solutions: developing mentoring activities doubled with guidance and vocational counseling, especially in the final years of at the level of middle and high school education. The purpose of these actions would be to become familiar with the profile of the Naval Academy and to increase the attractiveness of pursuing such a career. It is also very important to promote the specifics of the Naval Academy at national level through campaigns. A very good example to follow would be the national defense system, an area in which in recent years the number of women involved has increased at the level of various weapons, but also at the level of leadership. Thus, we consider that common points of interest and ways of collaboration can be identified in order to increase the number of women in the Navy. Another appropriate initiative that would lead to alignment at European and international level promoting the gender perspective and increasing the number of women in the maritime sector would be to follow active measures implemented in other states and take examples of good practice. In addition to these potential solutions, of course, I believe that it is essential to shift the focus from a reactive to a proactive approach in a way that ensures a balanced participation of women and men in all areas, thus improving the conditions for equal rights, access to all levels and forms of education as well as lifelong learning and choosing a career without any form of discrimination. I conclude by thanking you once again for the opportunity to communicate my message to you on this very important issue, and I assure you of the promotion and continuous and unconditional support of the principle of equal opportunities for treatment between women and men, and most importantly of encouragement, increasing the involvement of women, especially in the decision-making process. Women's participation is a visible speaker of the beneficial influence of society and an important factor generating progress.
We thank to all the policymakers that are today with us in our focus group, and we move further to another part of the maritime stakeholders. That would be the business sector, the unions, and the seafarers. And I'm inviting now Ms. Emma Mark, the head of operations at Intelligent Cargo Systems, to give us some very interesting words. Emma Mark has spent the last decade championing new technology products and services to the maritime sector. She currently manages the operations and marketing output for Intelligent Cargo System, a maritime technology startup which develops port call optimization technology for the container sector. Today, she will be examining the successes of the Royal Navy to ensure greater diversity within the commercial maritime industry.
Hello, my name is Emma Mark. I'm the Head of Operations for Intelligent Cargo Systems, and I've been in the maritime industry for over a decade. I'd like to start with the image on the left, which shows Victoria Drummond, MBE. After completing an apprenticeship at the Calding Shipbuilding and Engineering Company in Dundee, she joined the Merchant Navy in 1922. Through sheer perseverance, she went on to become the first British woman to serve as a Merchant Navy Chief Engineer, the first woman marine engineer in Britain, and the first woman member of the Institute of Marine Engineers. She was rejected over 37 times for a Board of Trade certificate as a ship's engineer, before she finally succeeded in becoming the first woman ever to be awarded one. Victoria Drummond served in World War II at sea as an engineering officer in the British Merchant Navy and received awards for bravery under enemy fire. Now, women are actively supported by organisations such as the IMO and the ILO, and of course the United Nations, to ensure they are represented within the maritime industry, but yet we're still not achieving enough. I would like to suggest that we look a little closer to home for inspiration. The Royal Navy has successfully increased its uptake of women year on year and prides itself on its unwavering diversity and equality policies. Every single page of their website, as you can see here, shows imagery of women in every role imaginable. And it's not lip service, it's not gender bias or positive discrimination, it's just fact. Women are in the Royal Navy, and lots of them. And it's not marketing or websites that help them to achieve diversity. Their policies have been carefully crafted over time to ensure all requirements are met, whilst maintaining the safety of all on board. Now, there are, of course, many other avenues for us to explore, but examining the successes of our colleagues and learning from their mistakes should be our first port of call. By working with the Royal Navy or any other industry that has nurtured an inclusive and fully diverse culture, not because they have to, but because they truly see the unequivocal benefits of a female workforce, we could do as Victoria Drummond did and achieve the impossible. But unlike her, we are not alone. And if we stand together, if we join forces, we can achieve so much. Thank you very much.
We will further move on to Ms. Alexandra Bădiță. She is the president of the Business Women Club from Bucharest.
My name is Alexandra Bădiță. I am a self-esteem coach for women and the regional director of Global Women Club Bucharest. In my work, I meet many women who don't feel safe to speak up. This is why we need to create safe spaces and open conversations in order to eliminate the misconceptions that women are too weak or too emotional. Implementing well-being and mental health programs that unpack all the beliefs through coaching and continuous development can reframe the gender bias in the maritime industry. It all starts with education and constant learning. I believe that new policies and support for emotional intelligence programs for both genders will result in a more balanced environment across cultures. Gender equality can manifest in a healthy system where conversations are encouraged and women feel safe to fulfill their potential. Thank you.
We further invite Ms. Marte Lamp Sandik, board member of WISTA Norway. She has a full career in shipping industry, in finance, in brokering, and a long-term advocate for increased female participation in the maritime industry. On her opinion, workplaces need to think holistically about female career equality in society as a whole, including initiatives aimed at giving men the opportunity for increased childcare responsibility through paid father leave.
Hi, my name is Marte Lamp Sandik. I have about 7 years experience from the shipping industry. I'm a board member in WISTA Norway, and I'm a long-term agent for gender equality in this industry. The integration of more women into shipping and this industry has a lot of focus over the past years. We've had a lot of initiatives and plans and focus to go ahead. I think we're in the situation where we tend to fall into the same traps when we look at these initiatives, although they are incredibly important on their own rights. But we only focus on one gender, so we put the entire burden on this on women themselves. The solutions are always one size fits all, and they don't take into account that an entire gender of women have different personal ambitions, different skills, different potentials and personal situations. And we don't do enough for the men. That might sound counterintuitive when we focus on how women can increase their career trajectories into the shipping industry, but I think we need to look at the other side of what we call the family equation. And because research shows us that women lose out on men in terms of career progression, in terms of compensation progression after having children. And we know that this is also mainly due to women taking the majority of the household workload with children and with the house in general, in addition to having their careers. As such, my personal opinion is that we need to focus on the key to liberating women in the industry is also to focus on this other part of the family equation, the fathers as well. And the industry should encourage companies to have paid paternal leave systems. They should have cultures where it's okay for a dad to have a care day at home for a sick child. And in this way, we will impact the society as a whole through indirect effects. And will also help to create a culture in the shipping companies and in the industries where it's okay for a father to go home with a sick child and to work from home, where and the mother doesn't always have to leave the meeting, or situations where you say no to a leadership position because you have too much at home. And again, this is very personal, and it changes from a person to person, and for different women have different priorities and wishes in that regard. But I really think we also need to look at how we liberate fathers in the sense to decrease the household workload for women and make dads, give them the cultural opportunity to be more engaged in their families as well.
We further will see a recording from another WISTA member. She is Angelica Borja, is the president of WISTA Colombia. She's an industrial engineer. She has a master in international commerce. She has experience in logistic operations, ports and supply chain. She manages a scope of process management and continuous improvement, integrating elements of project management and process transformation through technologies. Currently, she is working in Colombia at Impala Terminals.
Hi all, from WISTA Colombia, many greetings. We propose an action to facilitate the recruitment process, especially for the first job or the entry positions in maritime field, through the creation of an agency for women in maritime promotion. This first job policy should be regulated as mandatory, as a quota by gender. This initiative, together with the creation of an European or eventually a World Bank of women professionals where validated profiles can be shared and consulted by companies looking for talent, as well as job offer or posting, will be an impulse for all young women looking forward to enter the market. By whom should be taken this action? European Union together with International Maritime Organization. The reason why we believe this is an action that could deliver results is because there are many barriers, but the first job or the entrance, it's perhaps the most difficult one for new generations or young professionals with not much experience. So this is the first glass door they need to face, and an opportunity will generate the confidence and the experience so they can keep striving and stepping forward. Another reason why we propose this is because emerging countries such as Colombia and South America will also follow this example if this initiative is taken. This idea should be implemented at most 1 or 2 years from now. Thank you for the opportunity. Greetings to all.
We move further to another WISTA. I remember for you, WISTA means Women in Shipping and Trading Association. Is the largest association of women in maritime. And we meet today Miss Margaret Gallo. She is the president of WISTA Angola. She is a registered lawyer in Angola and general manager of Margaret Gallo and Associados. She is a member of many international associations and working groups, including but not limited to as president of WISTA Angola and of the International Fellowship of Dispute Settlement Experts of the International Tribunal for the Law of the Sea. She is also the founder of the Luanda Maritime Seminar, author of Quasi-Flags of Convenience and of the West Africa Maritime Boundaries. She is currently working in a publication project with the Nelson Mandela University, among other ongoing projects in the field of the law of the sea. Margaret.
I would like to talk about a few topics very, very fast. I think that we already had a process of awareness in the time that we've been collecting data from associations, from private members, from coastal states. And in order to give a further step, a firm step, I think we need to move from awareness to an obligation, to a real compliance. And this can only be done by hard law. I will give an example. In Angola, we had the process of Angolanization, to which many firms, foreign firms, were coming in Angola with almost 100% of foreigner workers, which left the local workers without employment. And the legislature had to put a law that they were obliged to hire at least 30% of Angolan workers, and then move to 50% of Angolan workers. And the process continued, and it was seen that actually those people had expertise and could be hired locally. And this can also happen with the gender balance. We had decades of discussions, of awareness, and we get to a point that we can agree that we are aware that it is wrong not to hire a person just because of their gender, race, or sexual orientation. It's a very easy topic to agree on and point to agree on. It's wrong, it's immoral, and it should also be illegal. With the flags of convenience, which I actually wrote about that in my first book, Cozy Flags of Convenience, ships were marked as white list, gray list, and green list. This can also be done with the coastal states that are not complying with gender balance. And the only way to do that is if we move from awareness to actually an obligation, which can only be done by hard law, to imply the obligation on member states of IMOs, and IMO would collect the data from the member states, and the member states which don't comply to at least 20% of companies in this field, on the maritime field, to have women workers, or could not justify that there were no women qualified to be employed at such field, this would start to change a bit faster the process. This is something that worked in many African countries on the issue of hiring people locally. This is something that can also work with the gender gap. We are talking about 1%. It's unimaginable that more than 50% the planet, of the humans in this planet, are not working in the maritime field. So we keep on talking about the 2% of women working in the maritime field. And if we put that statistics of number of people, that women that could be working in the maritime field, it's just something unimaginable and hard to believe. Another thing that IMO is doing correct is to ask to hear what the associations in the field have to do. And this is a process that has to be continuous. This is not a process that should be stopped at some point when it feels that all data, all necessary data are collected, but it should be continuous and continues to renovate for IMO to be able to give a response in different times. So this is basically what I had to say in this field. I thank you all for listening, for taking a step towards the gender gap. This is an urgent issue. This is a very, very serious issue. This is something that we have been in our daily discussions in Angola, especially for people working in the maritime industry. Thank you.
We also thank you very much for your great suggestion. And we further invite another WISTA member, is Miss Simona Shishu. She is the board member WISTA from WISTA Romania. And following, we will have another WISTA member from India. So, Simona, hello.
Hello, and thank you so much for the invitation. I am truly honored to be part of this focus group. I hope you enjoy my little video. The topic is about implementing an informing platform through the educational system in order for young girls to access all the information required to go into this great industry. Thank you again, and I hope you enjoyed the presentation I've made.
Dear colleagues, dear guests, first of all, thank you for the opportunity of being part of this amazing focus group. We really hope that the ideas and the proposals that will come up from this focus group will really help and empower women all over the maritime industry sector. My topic today is about implementing an informing platform through the educational system. I want to get into the details a little bit to tell you what my idea was about. In 2020, girls will be girls, but girls can be anything they want. And in this aspect, I think a lot of girls don't know that they have the opportunity of joining this industry in this sector, don't know that they can be ship's masters or a captain, and don't know that this job opportunity and this career can be on their radar. So in this aspect, I think it will be a really good idea to implement an informing platform at a middle school level. At a high school level, I think it's a little bit too late. This informing platform can be done via online or via in person when this whole period will be over by well-established female operatives in the sector. In order for them to choose to be part of this great industry, to be a part of the maritime industry, they have to know that there is a possibility to become a ship's master, a captain, or any other jobs in the industry. So at the middle school level, they can have this informing platform in which well-established female operatives can come and tell them about this job, what these jobs imply, what can they do further in life with this career, and what the opportunities may be for them. At the middle school level, it's still early for them to decide. At a high school level, it's a little bit too late because they already decided what they want to be in life. So I think between the ages of 12 and 15, it's a really good age for them to have this job opportunity on their radar. It's not a difficult thing to do. Well-established female operators in the field can make videos or can make little presentations, and these presentations, these videos can be broadcast through the educational system. When it will be possible, of course, they can come in real life, in real person, in schools, and can talk live with the girls in order for them to understand what this job is all about. I think it's important for girls to know, to have an informed choice. Even though they do not choose to go into this industry and to choose this job, it's important for them to have an informed choice and to know that this is a possibility for them. This program can be implemented at a local level, at a national level, or even at an international level. It depends a lot on the authorities, and it depends a lot on the social and economical possibilities that each country has. But it's not a very hard thing to do. So I think it's an idea that needs a little bit of developing, of course, but it's a starting point, and this is what our focus group is all about today. This action can be implemented by a joint action for the IMO, ILO, and European Commission, and can be easily done in the years to come. So thank you very much, and have a great day.
And further, we will listen to Samit Chima. She represents WISTA India.
Hello everyone and namaste. This is Sumit Chima. I'm the president of WISTA India, and I'm also the co-founder of DICE-Corp International Sourcing Solutions. I'm very thankful for this opportunity to propose some of my thoughts and ideas towards what policymakers can do in terms of women empowerment. So two areas which I would like to suggest and would like to work with IMO if possible. And these two areas are, one is gender sensitization and second is mental health. I'll first talk about mental health, which is very, very important, and I am very passionate about mental health. I feel very strongly about mental health for women and driving that agenda. Mental health is important not just for women but for both genders and all working people, but particularly in our industry, women go through a lot of stress, they go through a lot of anxiety, a lot of challenges because they are a minority, and I think IMO can really build an agenda towards mental health by creating programs, online webinars, inviting experts, psychiatrists, doctors, mental health experts, and creating an ecosystem of mental well-being for women, and creating a platform where women can come and talk about their worries and their anxieties and their traumas. We see suicide cases among women seafarers. We see a lot of stress that mothers are going through, working mothers in the industry. There are harassment and bullying cases. So mental health is a very, very, very crucial area, and as IMO, a lot can be done in this area, and I am very happy and willing to support IMO in creating this ecosystem for women in shipping, for mental well-being. Second is the gender sensitization. This is very important, and this is something which WISTA is trying to drive in India as well, that there should be a mandatory gender sensitization course. Now, why gender sensitization? Because there's a lot of stereotyping. People don't value diversity. There's a lot of harassment happening. So a gender sensitization course will have modules on what is appropriate versus inappropriate behavior. What are the zero tolerance policies in terms of behavior on board, or even on in companies at shore. There'll be best practices defined in these courses, that what companies have done to ensure that sensitization is a priority in their organization. So these are the two things which I would want IMO to implement, and I am happy and willing and very enthusiastic to be able to support IMO in this, and both areas are very important for women. And if this is implemented by IMO in the next calendar year, it'll be great, starting Jan 2021, rather maybe April 2021, where in the first 3 months plans can be formulated and reports can be made, and an action plan for the next maybe 5 years can be drafted. So that's about it. So I'm happy to help in whichever way I can. Thank you so much for this opportunity. Bye-bye.
We invite Lena Dwyring, is the Norwegian Seafarers Union representative.
Hi everyone, and thank you for allowing me to address you today. Gender equality in maritime still needs a lot of improvement. There are many numbers and surveys out there indicating the different levels of women working at sea, but it's still very safe to say that the actual number, actual percentage is well into the single digits, and it is not improving at a fast enough pace. All workplaces, of course, benefit from a more diverse composition, and seafaring is no different to any other industry in that regard. Now, the industry has been given some tools over the past couple of years to achieve this goal, and one notable tool is the outcomes of the meeting or the sectoral meeting on the recruitment and retention of seafarers and the promotion of opportunities for women seafarers. A number of action items were agreed upon for ship owners, seafarers, and the International Labour Office, and since a lot of great work has been done by all of the involved parties. Now then came COVID-19, which practically forced the industry to a halt and threw many of the old rules out of the window. It has, of course, been devastating to seafarers and many women seafarers in particular, and also to the industry at large. Now, it has also given us an opportunity in a certain way for a fresh start. Now, going forward, it has become increasingly apparent that we need the ILO member states' help in enforcing the great provisions that are already out there, maybe most notably the MLC. The MLC has a lot of great content and can and should be used by us, all of us, to promote women seafarers and to prevent discrimination. And now it's up to us to use these tools to the best of our ability. But it is also up to the ILO member states to hold the industry stakeholders accountable. We expect that women should have equal access to the industry through educational institutions, through cadet and trainee berths. We expect the industry to ensure that the women who are already working at sea should be properly taken care of so that they want to stay and that they want to invite other women colleagues. Now, we also expect that, the industry should implement anti-harassment and bullying policies. A great example is the ITF-ICF guidelines that were issued, and so on and so forth. It benefits, of course, both men and women. Ship owners should not test women for pregnancy as part of pre-employment medical examinations, and in the notable exceptions where this may be allowed or appropriate, it should be done in accordance with Convention 111, which of course means that it should not hold a woman back from getting a job she otherwise would have gotten, and so on. The ILO and its member states could easily speed this process up, though, by being active enforcers of the instruments at our disposal. Finally, I want to wrap up by saying how important it is for a gender equal work environment at sea to have family-friendly policies, and most notably, as part of this, a family-friendly rotation and shorter contracts. We see in the areas where this is the case, it's often the areas with the best working conditions. We also see the highest percentage of women seafarers, and of course there's a correlation there, right? And we need the help of the European Commission to protect these working conditions and hopefully also expand them to the other parts of the world, so that it's not just a benefit for seafarers working in these waters, but it should be a benefit for seafarers working all over the world. Now, I know this is, of course, a long-term goal, and some maybe even call it a pipe dream, but I don't think so. I think we can get there with a lot of hard work and a lot, determination and planning. We can for sure get there. Now, thank you for your attention. Have a wonderful day, and I look forward to seeing everyone in person again. Thanks.
We invite now from another Seafarers Association, Captain Vasilan Slametrisno. He is the Vice President of the Indonesian Seafarers Union from Jakarta, Indonesia. His union is affiliated to the ITF London, and he's a Master Mariner with the executive program of Western University, London, Ontario, and Canada, with various expertise in maritime safety and security auditor. He will address through the IMO regarding some very critical issues. Hello, Captain Vasilan.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for giving me a chance to become a speaker in this event. My name is Captain Trisno, the Vice President of Indonesian Seafarers Union affiliated to ITF. Actually, Indonesian government has already issued instruction to ship owners in empowering women seafarers on October 2017. But the ship owners do not implement it, which is mostly happen to women ship owners, ship officers. It applies at all stages of the seafarers profession. Violation of it will result in the removal of the license. They are as follows: license of the recruitment and placement of ship crew, license of company business of sea transportation, license of special sea transportation operation. This instruction look good, however, they don't work because recruitment process is on ship owner's hand. To empower women seafarers, they should be given first priority on board the vessel in this area as follows. First, domestic voyage. As 3 officer, 2nd officer, chief officer, and master. On board tugboat, supply boat, crew boat, ferry boat, and on cargo ship at any size. Near coastal voyage, same as domestic voyage. 3, international voyage, position as junior officer, and might be promoted as chief officer and master. Normally, women seafarers in Indonesia who get gender discrimination are deck officer and engineer officer, but the engineers are very rare. To sum up then, I expect that ILO, IMO update crew policy regarding vessel operation and done by women seafarers. The action should be delivered by EU, ILO, IMO because they are the key of regulator in maritime. The action should be delivered to them because ILO, IMO, EU in order to make policy regarding empowering of women seafarers. This idea should be implemented very soon. Since we are the Seafarers Union, so we will urge the ship owners and government to implement the new policy. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Captain Vasilan Slametrisno, Vice President of the Indonesian Seafarers Union from Jakarta. And we have now another representative of the Seafarers Union, Mr. Michal Choiu Adrian from ITF Romania. Hello, Mr. Michal Choiu.
Hello, everybody. Hello, Christina. Thank you for this opportunity to participate on this important event, Empowering Gender in Maritime. That means the unions, as also the speakers said before, the unions are organizations working direct with the members, women and men, with our members, of course. And we see a lot of things to be done from this perspective. We see that there are many things to be done from maritime actors, including World Organization. For this point, I would like to mention that and congrats the IMO for their commitment to help state members achieve the United Nations 2030 Agenda for the Sustainable Development, and in particular goals number 5, the gender equality and empower all women and girls. That it's a very important issue in the World Maritime Organization. And of course, they must regulate the maritime sector as much as the minimum personal requirements needs of the women to be implemented on board the ships. So there are things to be done from this organization in order to have condition for women to work on board of the vessel, and then to attract more youngers and more girls and women in the sector and also in the shipping area. Also, we want and saw that the European Commission made within the meetings in the sector, dialogue sector on the maritime transport sector, the challenge of image of a male domination for the sector, which women should have their full part of play. That is very important, and we discussed many times in these meetings, social dialogue meetings on maritime transport sector level, that in all the transport modes are taking equality issues seriously, and as part of that, appealing more to women. Maritime is the exceptions with the low overall levels of female participation in the workforce. Any initiative aimed at making the industry more attractive for women should be supported. I think that is a good point for the Commission on that meetings. So in this respect, in particular, attention should be paid to image of the maritime profession, training, recruitment and career as policies, the need for workplace free from any bullying and harassment, reconciliation for working life for the family, as a model in European countries, where the involvement of the female seafarers is already significant. So I'd like to mention that let's say in Europe or in world, we have about 34% women present in the sector, in the transport, but only or working, but only 2% are working on the maritime sector. And from these 2%, only little bit more than 1% are seafarers. So very, very low. I think it's very important to try to do and to approach the woman image that they have to be more involved in the sector. Yeah, to increase their numbers, to increase, and how to increase. First of all, we need to see the numbers, to see the statistics, and starting from that statistic, we have to consolidate, to construct ways to promote women and to encourage women to be part of this maritime sector. So, women raise the standards in working and living condition on board the ship, that is clear, and bring a normal on board the vessel. Many, many, many years, this activity, seafaring or as a crew of ships, in our mentality, in our views, say that it's a work for the men. So in the last years, and demonstrates that the woman is same like men on board of the vessel, or better sometimes. And we want and we need to bring this image of woman on board openly in the agenda, the public agenda, and to be more public, woman to be more public, more or big image on that shipping career as a woman on board the vessels. So also it's very important to harmonize the families, to have training and recruitment, also to have care about this part of the let's say this woman. And I want to say that also the training centers has to encourage the women to be good professors in the key role in training for the profession, for the maritime, not only for social or other part of this training only also the professional in the maritime. So it's better to attract women in training centers, to attract women in the training companies, in the offices, in order to promote and to encourage women to be also employed on board the vessels. So there are a lot of things to be done in mentality of the people. So we have to work with that, with the mentality of the people, and also we want to work in the mentality of ship owners to have a very nice view regarding the woman on board, and not bad views, because also one of the point is pregnancy. Pregnancy must not be seen like an illness. Pregnancy is something natural, is something normal, and then is not be treated like an illness. For this point, for example, woman has a lot to lose from the position on board the vessel, and for position to be employed on board the vessel by the companies and by the crewing agencies. So one to the others, we as a union working with the people on the first level. So we want to see that, and we want to participate, of course, to encourage women in the sector, and to eliminate the barriers. We have free employment for the women on board of the vessel like men, so to be no discriminatory, and also to protect them by bullying or harassment, as normally to protect all the members. And thank you very much, Christina and Mihaela.
Thank you also. Thank you, Mr. Mihalceu. Adrian is the representative of the Romanian Union of Seafarers, ITF affiliated. And we invite another representative of Maritime Association, Ms. Dumitrica Călin. She is the Romanian Shipmasters Association representative, Master Mariner Unlimited license, and also nautical instructor.
Good day, dear audience and colleagues. My name is Dumitrica Călin. I am from Romania, Master Mariner license, and a member of the Romanian Shipmasters Association, affiliated to the International Federation of Shipmasters. Middle this year, the Romanian Shipmasters Association launched a mentoring program where the members offered advice, guidance, and provide a realistic picture of the seafarer's career to the Maritime University students, cadets, and junior officers at the beginning of their career. We have seen a great interest from the young generation, therefore, we propose expanding the concept of mentoring to become a standard practice both on board the ships and shoreside institutions, with clear guidelines and support. In the maritime industry, there have been always a great interest in improving the technical skills, and a standard was settled. My personal suggestion to all involved institutions is to build awareness and ensure a culture that embraces gender diversity, and from personal experience, this can be done through trainings. Gender diversity is not the responsibility of one individual. It's an issue that every person in the maritime industry needs to engage with. My proposal to IMO is a soft skill course highlighting the importance of a just culture concept, with an implementation at all levels, from the recruiters, ship owners, and seafarers. The ultimate aim is to prevent misunderstanding and misinterpretation of equal gender opportunities. Thank you very much for your kindness. Stay safe, stay healthy.
We will continue further with the speaking intervention of Marle Jimenez San Pedro. She is the president of WIMAPHIL, and she has expertise in gender and development, empowerment of women in maritime.
The role of the International Maritime Organization for Empowering Gender in Maritime, presented by Marle Jimenez San Pedro. About the presenter. Nerly Jimenez San Pedro. President, Women in Maritime Asia. President, Women in Maritime Philippines. President, Mariners Polytechnic Colleges Foundation of Legazpi City, Albay Incorporated. The International Maritime Organization, or IMO, is a specialized agency created by the United Nations with a responsibility for the safety and security of shipping and the prevention of marine and atmospheric pollution by ships. IMO's programs and policies support the UN Sustainable Development Goals, including SDG number 5, achievement of gender equality and empowerment of all women and girls. Over the years, IMO has facilitated the creation of professional networks to improve gender balance in the shipping industry, which resulted to the creation of Women in Maritime, IMO's Gender Program. Women in Maritime Philippines, or WIMAPHIL, one of the networks of IMO's Women in Maritime program, serves as the prime mover in the promotion and realization of the UN Sustainable Development Goals, or UN SDGs, in the Philippine maritime industry. As part of our commitment to help the IMO succeed in its efforts towards achieving gender equality and empowerment of women in the maritime industry, WIMAPHIL would like to propose the following programs. Availability of gender disaggregated data for research and information management. Effective programs and policies are data-driven. To truly be able to create and implement programs that would address gender inequality across the maritime industry, the IMO and all organizations under its umbrella need gender disaggregated data in the formulation of scientific and gender-specific policies. Maritime reports and researches generally do not include gender-specific data. For example, in July 2020, the International Transport Workers Federation, or ITF, estimated 300,000 seafarers who were trapped at sea due to crew change crisis caused by government COVID-19 border and travel restrictions. These data, however, did not reflect the number of men and women on board these ships, which is crucial to immediately address the problem. The availability of gender disaggregated data across all levels of the maritime industry will be helpful in the creation of programs that address gender inequality and other gender-specific issues in maritime. Promotion of women in maritime in the education sector. The achievement of gender equality and women empowerment in the maritime industry begins at the education sector. The IMO, through its programs and policies, can strengthen its information campaign on women participation in the maritime industry and cascade it in the education sector. In a lot of countries, including the Philippines, seafaring is still generally perceived as a career exclusive for men. A lot of girls and women are unaware that they too can build a career as seafarers and have the same opportunities that are available for men in maritime. The IMO can lead the global information campaign that would open doors for girls and women who would like to become part of the world's 1.2 million seafarers. Starting the information campaign at the grassroots level and the education sector will help secure women participation in the maritime industry for generations to come. Thank you.
We proceed further with another representative of an interesting platform. It's about SheFarers platform, and our guest is Aisha Asli Basak. She is the co-founder of this platform dedicated for women in maritime. And also she is the port captain at Midship Group, LLC, and board member of Turkish Chamber of Marine Engineers.
Hello everybody, and greetings from Çanakkale, Turkey. My name is Aisha Asli Basak, and I am the co-founder of SheFarers platform, Turkey. SheFarers is the first mentorship platform set up in Turkey to encourage women seafarers and women working in the maritime work field, such as ports, shipyards as well, and working with all voluntary bases to support our sisters in the maritime industry. My suggestion for the organizations is to push governments to recognize women seafarers in the maritime labor law. In Turkey, the women still need to assume as seamen and get seaman's book instead of seafarer's book. And this causes an unconscious bias for women seafarers that they are not being recognized officially. Also, the local legislation does not include maternity leaves, rights for women seafarers who work on board contract basis. MLC 2006 well explains about the rights for women's labor force in the maritime industry. However, there are still some countries which don't ratify the requirements, and this causes a lack of rights for female seafarers and also demotivates the women in the workforce. We kindly suggest IMO, ILO to reinforce a new code for making the environment more equal for female seafarers. Another suggestion of ours is to the European Commission. There should be some specific programs for empowering women seafarers or women in maritime in all positions, such as to put initiatives for mentorship projects, to provide scholarships, and to encourage the maritime companies for employing female seafarers. European Union has some gender programs on different aspects. However, maritime-based specific programs will be more useful to take the quick action to solve the rising problem. Women seafarers don't only face with difficulties on finding jobs, they challenge with harassment, violence, bullying in the work field, especially the women working on board. This is becoming more a safety and security issue rather than a career bias. 2030 goals of United Nations has number 5, which is gender equality. We have 13 years to catch this goal and need to collaborate with all companies, organizations and governments together to become sustainable and competitor in the maritime industry. World is changing and the generations as well. We need to leave more equal world to the next generations, and it is our responsibility to take the action. And thank you.
We'll move to third officer is about Miss Alexandra Ciucanu. She is the third officer on Celebrity Cruises.
Dear guests, friends and colleagues, it is amazing to see that even given the hard times that we are living, we are still keeping up the highest standard that the maritime industry has created for all of us. By that being said, my idea on empowering women in the maritime industry is first of all to offer the opportunities for the other universities than maritime to understand that they can be connected to the maritime field, such as hotel department, such as entertainment, and the list can go on, as the term seafarer is not limited only to the deck and engine department, even so that the Maritime Academy are based on this kind of side. The other thing that I would like to raise up is to offer guidance to the females who are already volunteering in empowering women. This guidance should be under the umbrella of the international associations that are already regulating the maritime field. IMO should support and create a friendly summit environment for the international empowering women associations which are already present in most of the countries. We have to create summits, we have to create international guidance and recognition to the ones who are voluntarily helping other females to become seafarers. As I observed when I was a student, the majority of us give up before they start. The majority of us give up in the process of applying, give up in the process of recruitment. I know this job is challenging, it starts to be challenging from the shore base, and then when we go on board it starts to be even more challenging. But with having support from the leaders among us, by having the correct guidance and by seeing the role models in our lives, this will make the life much easier. My idea is to keep up the good work that we are still doing, is to continue improving ourselves. By that being said, my idea is to have meetings with the students on a semester basis, whenever they start, before they start, and after the recruitment process, whenever they come from on board. And this term is not limited only to the training of being a better self. These trainings can be also out of the box with helping them to improve their working skills. As being a professional at our job, it is part of the female lead and role model that we see in the sector. Thank you very much for this opportunity, and we will keep up the good work.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Jincheol Choi. I'm from South Korea. I'm a professor at the Korea Maritime and Ocean University. It's a very honor for me to have this opportunity to talk about empowering of women in the maritime industry. My major field is intercultural communication and anthropology, so I'm teaching now at our university about intercultural communication on board ships. Therefore, I'm very sensible for the gender issues in the maritime industry. As you know, today more and more women are jumping into the realm of the forbidden to women, as men enter the realm of women in various job world. But in the job world of seafarers, we have a fixed image about the job of seafarer. The seafarer is traditionally classified as a male-dominated occupation. Ships on the sea, especially in the shipping sector, are not open to women until recently compared to the other occupation. It was only around the 70s that women took over the rank of officers in merchant vessels and began to work as deck and engineering officers in earnest. Although it is still regarded as an exceptional situation, especially here in Korea, in Korean flag vessel, the number of female mates and engineers has been increasing since 1990s. While many men who have entered the field of women are building relatively successful careers by taking advantage of their own favorable condition, women in the field of shipping industry are still struggling. This is because female ship officers are prone to suffer from prejudices created by the male-dominated job world from the beginning of their careers. Even if they succeeded to disprove those kind of prejudices, they encounter limitations in reaching out against the kind of glass ceiling. Moreover, it is extremely rare for several female seafarers on board at the same time. Thus, female seafarers are forced to boat with invisible stigma of being the only woman or minority among the more than 20 members of the ships. Therefore, male-centered prejudice and stereotypes are prevalent in the shipping industry. For example, female officers board the ship as a means to get a more stable job on land, or the long-term voyage is impossible due to the marriage and childbirth even if they want it. Here, based on my field research here in Korean shipping industry, it reveals that the short history of the female ship officers buyers and employment, which has just begun in the Korean shipping industry since 90s, unilaterally generalized the position of the minor females from a male-centered perspective, creating a fixed image of them. Therefore, I finally would like to ask to take a measurement in order to reduce this kind of prejudice about the female seafarers. We can take a special training for get rid of those kind of prejudice for we can implement those kind of training the on-the-job training for merchant vessel officers. Thank you.
We invite now Dr. Nihan Şenbursa. She is from University of Ordu, Turkey. She is one of our partners in this great initiative.
Thank you very much for the invitation, first of all, and hello, everybody. So I will straight ahead start with the actions, what actions need to be taken regarding raising the awareness of maritime women in the industry. First of all, me as academics and throughout all the researches that we are conducting, the sustainability becomes one of the first criteria regarding maritime policies concerning promotion of gender equal maritime education or whatsoever, or like employment of women seafarers on board. We need to have a concrete policy rather than promoting. I think NGOs, international governmental organizations, need to impose somehow to the stakeholders, ship owners, and the other partners to somehow raise the number of the women seafarers, because long-term actions rather than yearly or short-term actions need to be imposed or suggested in the awareness of maritime women. Maybe an establishment of maritime women consultative committees on a country basis would help to speak up difficulties that are faced by women seafarers, and then collecting this data after making some gatherings together with IMO, ILO, and EU, and bringing up the problems and obstacles that they face, I think would make these NGOs closer to the problems. Because I think also the strategies on win-win negotiation with ship owners need to be applied. Encouragement of women seafarers quota or raising the number of women seafarers, but instead giving some attractive credits to ship owners will be one of them. One of the idea to raise the awareness of maritime women. Also, trainings regarding glass ceiling, gender gap, and prejudices matter a lot. There's a prejudice in the maritime sector, like in any other men-oriented sectors, regarding the physical and mental unsuitability of women for this job. A crew training program has to be applied by the maritime companies to crew and also to the human resources department to overcome this prejudice, because human resources department is the first step that women seafarers face with when it comes to employment process. And motherhood at sea, right before me, Aisha Aslı, she mentioned this process, because choosing to be a mother is a challenging process for a maritime woman, and they would like to, if they would like to continue their profession on board, that becomes a little bit overwhelming for them. Concerning motherhood process that women seafarers face with, together with the support of the ministries, IMO, ILO, and EU, solutions can be brought for the continuity of women's employment at the standards that shipping companies would afford. Applications such as paid maternity leave or allowing mothers to work for a certain period of time on land-based jobs in a suitable position can also be discussed. Also, psychological support that women need on board is another important point to be mentioned, I think. For example, IMO can launch a women seafarers complaint call center for any negative treatment such as mobbing, bullying that women face on board, can help to identify the problems and reduce such treatments towards women seafarers. Women seafarers policy, in most of the shipping companies, as we all know, there are established policies and procedures such as clean environment, alcoholic abuse, and social media usage and dress code. A gender equality policy by companies that will protect women seafarers' rights shall be mandated by IMO also. These are some of the ideas, possible ideas that can be implemented. So I believe that with the joint action of NGOs regarding gender equality, we will have more pearls on board. I say better together, and thank you very much, Christina.
Thank you very much, Nihan. It's a pleasure listening to you. And we further give the floor to Ms. Tine Westerberg. She is Assistant Professor of Maritime Management at the University of Southeastern Norway. And she is specialized in maritime and energy management and skills development. Tine has an extensive experience in cross-border cooperation and holds a central part in the creation of the National Strategy for Lifelong Maritime Education and Research. She is involved in delivering the strategy adopted now by the Norwegian government, and she is involved actually in the National Research Strategy for Maritime Research delivered in Norway. Also, she is a member of WISTA Norway, Shipping Forum, and the Ocean Industry Forum, and also of the Competence Committee, and anyway, lots of committees. Tine, just take the floor and introduce yourself.
Well, thank you, Christina. I'm really happy to be here, and thank you for including me in this event to participate and share some of my thoughts on this important topic. I think that by creating these focus groups and meeting places like we're doing today, we put the gender gap on the agenda. And to ensure that action is taken, we need to keep pushing, keep talking, and keep suggesting actions. The maritime industry is a fascinating industry, which in some ways are very conservative, but at the same time, it's very innovative and forward-leaning and creative. And in this very exciting industry, only 16% of the employees are female in Norway, which is one of the most equal opportunity countries in the world. This must change. At a time where sustainability, digitalization, and autonomy, amongst a few, are external drivers which is pushing the maritime industry to find new and innovative solutions. The industry simply cannot afford to recruit talent from just half of the population. We need the female perspective, we need female experience, and we need female knowledge when developing the solutions of tomorrow. And we need them in all parts of the industry. And there are many things we can do to close the gender gap, and some of them have been suggested here today, but I think it all starts with education. I think educational institutions must be a lot better at recruiting and retaining female students. We must also ensure that all of our students have diversity as part of their DNA when they're done studying with us. But we don't just need to focus on formal education. We must educate through busting myths as well. I had a student a few years ago who wrote a thesis on female marine engineers. She found that those most skeptical to having women on board were those who had never sailed with a woman. And that's the kind of attitude that must be challenged. I think the EU, ILO, and IMO should identify more role models, both at sea and on shore, and we must show that being a woman, a mother, a daughter, a girlfriend, a wife, does not limit your possibilities within the maritime industry. Everyone can work in the maritime. The role models should share their experience and inspire the future generations. And as a practical example, in Norway, we have an information campaign called Maritime Career, aimed at young people, showing them the wide variety of careers available in the maritime industry. And the campaign speaks to the young using their channels of communication. It is mainly a social media campaign, and such a campaign should be implemented worldwide. and it should be implemented now. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tina. I say again, Tina Vesterberg, she is assistant professor at the University of Southeastern Norway, and it's something I did not mention about Tina, and also is related to the next guest. Tina and Miss Angelica Bailon, that you will further see, were my colleagues during the gCaptain research delivered between 2017 to 2018, sponsored by the International Association of Maritime Universities. These great ladies, together with another colleague, Jinchul Choi, that already was here, our guest before. So all of us, together with other researchers from other countries across 4 continents, in fact, we delivered this important research about gender equality and cultural awareness in maritime education and training. And I will tell you something else, something really important, the fact that we are today organizing this focus group event on gender is further result of that project that we used to do together with these great, very wonderful people. Okay, we further proceed to Dr. Angelica Bailon. She is a professor from Maritime Academy of Asia and the Pacific and the Professional Association, Philippine Association of Extension Program Implementers. My dear friend Angelica will speak today on behalf of these 2 institutions. She has a lot of research with policy implication and will emphasize the role of her institution, Academy of Asia and Pacific and PAEPI, for empowering gender in maritime.
Hello, everyone. I'm so happy to be here with you. And now I understand why we are given only 3 minutes because of the a long list of eminent speakers. Thank you very much, Christina, and I'm happy to share part of some policy study for implications. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Warm greetings from the Philippines. I'm Dr. Angelica Bailon, MAP External Relations Director and PAEPI Chairman Emeritus. Next slide. I'm glad to be with you for the opportunity to recommend policies that may be probably recommended by all concerned stakeholders, especially the policymakers, for immediate implementation. The 6 policies are shown on the slide, each to be discussed in the succeeding slide. Next slide. First is gendering of MET schools, training centers, and maritime sector in general. Similar with the gCaptain recommendation of gendering shipping, it is recommended that a similar policy of gendering MET schools be proposed. This can be done by introducing subjects on gender sensitivity, implementing gender fair policy, example in hiring female faculty, and introducing gender and development policies in maritime schools. Next slide. Second, policy on using neutral maritime terminologies. Sexist terms and language in the industry must be eliminated. The term seaman must be replaced with the gender-fair term seafarer and crewing agency instead of manning agency. Next slide. Hiring policy. Require ships to hire more women seafarers and women cadets or trainees. The government can make this requirement a precondition for the renewal of registration of both foreign and domestic shipping. Next slide. Fourth is empowerment of women program policy. This must be formulated for short-term and long-term goals. The program or strategy must include target number of students in maritime schools and target number of women to be deployed on board domestic and international vessels. Next slide. Fifth is mentoring of women junior officers and career tracking policy. If included in the company policy, this would encourage women to be more effective and efficient as they climb up the career ladder. Next slide is wage parity policy. It is observed that maritime industry has an inherent wage disparity between men and women. Pay scales must be gender neutral. It must be set by the position, qualification, and contribution to the organization. Now, on the question how my organization, MAP and PAEPI, supports these proposals. Next slide. MAP is a maritime institution for maritime students, and it is led by Vice Admiral Eduardo Mar Santos. It is located in Mariveles, Bataan, overlooking Corregidor Island. Next slide. Speaking of empowering gender in maritime, MAP was part of the IAMO-funded gCaptain project led by Dr. Cristina Dragomir of Constanta Maritime University. Next slide. To implement the conclusion of gCaptain and our proposal, MAP roles are evident in its various programs because all women are provided equal opportunities and access on scholarship and sponsorship program, employment program, high school career orientation programs, next slide, recruitment and selection program, and the Student Welfare Development Services program. Next slide. With this program, MAP roles supported the gCaptain conclusions on diversity and complementarity, empowering women, gendering curriculum, gendering leadership roles, enhancing the capability and potential of students, and gender neutrality. Next slide. This is MAP Women's Cadet Club, wherein students invite successful alumni to share their experiences as seafarers with their junior women cadets. Next slide. PAEPI. PAEPI is a recognized professional association whose nationwide membership consists of responsible officials and extension implementers in varied accredited local institutions in collaboration with global partners. MAP is a member of PAEPI, and we conduct professional development activities and projects. The PAEPI Global is chaired by Dr. Cristina Dragomir. Next slide. On how PAEPI roles for empowering gender for maritime. PAEPI partners with global counterparts like the Center for European Social Responsibility through its Vice Chair, Dr. Dragomir. Through CERS, members avail free training and webinars, and we also have gender sensitivity and development programs that address all sustainable development goals, and PAEPI is open to all a multidisciplinary organization for joint projects like trainings or competency enhancement or outreach activities. Next slide. And in conclusion, empowering gender in the maritime is challenging. There is a need to venture to unknown places or uncharted waters, map the obstacles, navigate around them, and make the route safe to carry on in integrating and empowering women into the maritime workforce. MAP and PAEPI Global is one with all local and international maritime organizations for empowering gender in maritime. With that, thank you and good day.
We further continue with another representative of Maritime Academy. It's about Captain Kartik. He's the Dean of the Faculty of Nautical Science, Academy of Maritime Education and Training, AMET University, which is India's first marine university for maritime education, training, and research. Captain Kartik, hello.
Hello. I hope I am audible, loud and clear, and visible to all.
Yes, you are.
Yeah, it's a very good evening from India, and could be good morning or good afternoon to others at various parts of the world. Thank you for all the speakers for sharing wonderful suggestions. And I thank Christina for giving me the opportunity to participate in this conference. I think Christina will play the 3 minutes video which I had given to her. So with that, I would like to say a good cheers and all the best to all women seafarers. My message is here. Thank you. God bless. Hello all. My greetings to all the participants of this conference from all over the world. My name is Captain K. Karthik. I am from AMET University, India. I'm indeed delighted to share my suggestions to the policymakers which are going to contribute to the empowerment of maritime women. On that note, I would like to place my suggestions to the highest policy makers, which is none other than the International Maritime Organization. So my points are as follows. I feel the IMO can consider coming up with special awards, particularly focused to the contribution made by the maritime women, which will have a predominant potential to shift the limelight on women fraternity. Also, the IMO can invite the member states for the development and ratification of a convention for the growth and sustainability of maritime women, for implementation of procedures that will facilitate the upward mobility of maritime women. Also, the IMO can consider allotting berths, especially to maritime women, in safety, technical, and environmental protection committees, which will carry the highest level of recognition for maritime women. The IMO can consider creating a special wing called the Maritime Women Wing in all international forums functioning under its auspices, which can propel the maritime women into the exceptional domain of administrators. The IMO can further convene annual international meetings to review the Convention for the Growth and Sustainability of Maritime Women, wherein it can monitor the growth and sustainability statistics of maritime women. Also, the IMO can consider providing special status, recognition, and release of funds for those flag states which encourages, promotes, propagates, and employs maximum number of women mariners under their national fleet. And last but not the least, I would say the IMO should encourage member states to report exceptional services contributed by maritime women, regardless of the type, size, and nature of vessel in which such services were performed. Further, IMO should also consider all sorts of via media to announce the contribution of maritime women, not only to the global maritime industry, but to the entire world. In these ways, I am certain that the limelight can be focused on maritime women and it can facilitate their empowerment. I thank you for giving me this opportunity and I wish all the participants a very good luck. Thank you.
Thank you also, Dean Captain Karthik from AMET University of India.
Thank
Very
you.
nice, very nice suggestions. I'm delighted to have such a great event with all you gathered here. We say welcome to Claudia Barahona Fuentes. She is a representative of Barcelona School of Nautical Studies, Universitat Politècnica de Catalunya, UPC Barcelona Tech. Dr. Claudia, hello.
Hello, good morning. Yep. Okay, so I would just like to thank you to invite me to this very interesting event, right? Well, I think that we are all going to take very useful insight from all the talks and videos that we hear. Yeah. So thanks for this opportunity. And as one of the speakers said before, so let's see if we can all get on board gender equality. Yeah. With this event. Okay, so thank you very much, Christina.
Good morning. Our proposal is on the introduction of the gender perspective in maritime studies by fostering the incorporation of a new STCW competence to promote gender equality in MET and the maritime industry. Okay, so although the number of female students enrolled in maritime education and training institutions has shown an increase since their incorporation in maritime studies, female figures are still far from the desirable gender balance expectations. In line with this, a recent study we carried out shows that in the last decade, there is no significant rising tendency concerning female figures in any of the European MET institutions analyzed. Promotion policies for incorporating more female students in maritime training are really necessary, but without effective gender-inclusive strategies and pedagogical and didactic approaches, there's a risk of reproducing inequality instead of reducing equality. In addition, the inequities at training level are reproduced in the professional sector. Gender equality policies, regulations, and programs have been promoted at international, European, and national level in the educational sector in order to foster a culture of equity and equality of opportunities for women. In line with this, in all Catalan universities, the Catalan University Quality Assurance Agency is promoting a regulation for the incorporation of a gender perspective in all the bachelor's degrees in tertiary education in Catalonia by 2021. To comply with this active regulation, our university launched a pilot project to integrate the gender dimension in teaching. This gender dimension in teaching and GECO project receives funding from the European Union's Horizon 2020 Research and Innovation Program. In the first implementation of this project, different courses from maritime studies and marine engineering degrees followed an agreed methodology to incorporate the gender perspective in teaching. The applied methodology consisted of a pre-test, different activities to incorporate the gender dimension in teaching, and a post-test, and a pre- and post-test analysis. After analyzing student replies to the pre- and post-test questions, it can be observed that students' perceptions concerning gender issues has changed as they have become more aware of some gender inequalities. In addition, as drawn from the results of the test and students' own perceptions, the incorporation of the gender perspective in teaching becomes crucial if we are to bridge the gender gap and offer a more inclusive training in MET. The gender dimension should be incorporated at 3 different levels. So, namely, within course contents, within the methodology, classroom management, and assessment as well. This is the presentation of our proposal, right? So our proposal aims at incorporating gender equality issues into international maritime regulations, such as the standards of training, certification, and bookkeeping. At present, gender issues are not included in this convention. And so we should try to find ways to incorporate gender equality issues within these minimum standards of competences to help to bridge the gender gap in maritime education and consequently in the shipping industry. For example, Part A of this code is mandatory and establishes the minimum standards of competence required for seagoing personnel, which are given in detail in a series of tables. In Section 8/2 on mandatory minimum requirements for certification of masters and chief mates on ships of 500 gross tonnage or more, there's the competence, use of leadership or managerial skill. We all know that this skill is different for men and women, so the gender perspective could be introduced in this competence or in its corresponding knowledge section, or alternatively, in a new independent entry. Finally, closely related to this, there's the European Commission concern to foster blue careers. However, there seems to be a shortage of professionals ready to work in the blue economy, which is likely to increase in the coming years. This demands cooperation between industry and MET institutions. And this could also be an opportunity to address the gender imbalance in the blue economy by encouraging women to step into traditionally male-dominated work areas and vice versa, which here again could be achieved with adequate promotion policies at different educational levels, pursuing the incorporation of women in maritime studies. Okay, so thank you very much for your attention.
It's just great to see there are so many academia that are concerned about this type of issues related to gender equality. Thank you. We will further proceed to one more presentation, the last one, and after that we will invite Dr. Jan Hork to say some words. But for now, I'm inviting one of my colleagues, Cristian Scurtu.
Hello, distinguished invites. My name is Ionuț Cristian Scurtu, and I'm delighted to be here with you. I will share you a few of my observations related to women empowering, and I hope this will be useful. So this is the global employment rate among women and men in transport sector. This is based on HASHE requests worldwide, and if you can see the graphs and the map, you will see countries with red symbolizing women, countries with blue symbolizing men, requests in transport. I am sending you my salute to all friends of WISTA, and I hope that it's time for you to act in order to change things worldwide. Best regards.
We also thank you very much, Professor Cristian Scurtu from Mijacel Bătrân Navy Academy, Constanta, Romania. And finally, we are inviting Assistant Professor Jan Hork.
Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to meet you on an issue very interesting and very important in the shipping industry. That means to promote women in this industry. And of course, you want to have these three identities to cooperate: IMO, ILO, and the European Union. 2 UN special agencies and 1 political organization to formulate something in common that could, what I think, convince the industry the benefits of having women in the industry, both on board ships and ashore, in shipping companies and in ports. But I think the actual work should be responsible for this is the ship owners associations and the maritime administration in the state. So if the 3 institutions, IMO, ILO, and EU, could write something to convince the industry that this is good. In Sweden, they did this by having a roadshow this summer by an icebreaker, going around the coast, stop at different ports, and have people from the city come on board and ask questions and see and hear what this life means. My daughter was there as first engineer, and she got a lot of questions in many of these ports on what it means to be a seafarer. I think this is maybe an approach that is worth taking note of. If you can have a shipping company who wants to have one of his ships put aside for this kind of a trip, then of course it's important for the gazettes, the magazines who write about shipping, also to emphasize often put articles in their papers on women. And may I take Sweden as an example again? The Swedish Shipping Gazette, quite often, in fact, have a reportage on women in various positions in the industry. And in the MET institutions, we had a little down period here in the beginning of the year and in the end of last year. But now, and I think it's because of this road trip with the icebreaker, more people has been asking to join MET studies. And a lot of women has also come for this education. And not so much in the engineering department, but mainly in the deck department. And I think this is maybe also more healthy for the woman to be on the deck department. Even if a lot of time in the engine room is spent in a control room, but often a lot of work out in the engine room itself. And with oil and gases, etc., perhaps not so good. So again, back to the main issue, you must find people in IMO, ILO, and EU who could be interested in sitting down and together formulate a good argument and show the benefits of seeing ladies in this industry. And in my previous work, I have written about this, and we can see that the ladies, it rotates a little bit different in the head of the ladies, and this is what this male conservative industry needs to have. This industry needs to have the input from these ladies who have other ideas on how to operate. The same as we also are in good hands and in good competition if we have people from other cultures to join the industry. We need this change in the industry, in the shipping industry, in order to be competitive. And this is maybe what I would like to have you to say from here in Sweden. So I wish you good luck with additional efforts, because this is important. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. That was all, folks. Just stay around and wait for our further events. Thank you very much for all your participation, and just take care of you and take care of your beloved ones. Okay, bye.